Well, good morning. Today on the podcast, we have got Mr. Dan Bosschieter here. Now, I'm pretty stoked to have Dan here, and I hit him up outside the cafe next to my gym because I was checking out his Land Cruiser, and I was like, that is a sweet Land Cruiser, buddy. And then I spotted his shirt, and on his shirt, it had this little company logo called Bruder, and I went, holy shit, is that you? And turns out it was. Dan, thank you for making the time to come and chat with me.
No, thank you.
And that's what happens when Land Cruiser guys spot other Land Cruisers. We just stand there and we talk Land Cruisers.
Yep. Yeah, or I do have a little hidden confession. I do like most brands as well. So I've been through a few Land Rovers and the Nissans and yeah.
There's something wrong with you.
Yeah, I know.
The Land Rovers, did you learn your lesson or have you kept going back?
No. Still got, I don't have one at the moment. I've got one of those Ineos Grenadiers coming. So that'll be, I think I picked that up this week or next week.
Yes.
Start ripping that apart and going,
Mate,
what can we do with this?
You're going to have to double back and pick me up when you get that one. I have sat in one of the Grenadiers. I went to the 4x4 show.
Yep.
And it was the first time I'd seen one in the flesh. And I went round it and I'm like, this is a real thing. Like,
yeah, it's cool, isn't it?
This is
cool
legit.
Car, yeah.
So it's got a BMW motor in it, I believe.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the chassis, that's all their own development?
Yeah, that's all their own gear.
Yeah. Because too hard to develop an engine. Better off to take something that works.
Engine, drivetrain, that sort of stuff going, grab that. And then trying to put it into a body that still looks cool and it's got that old school expedition.
Oh, mate, it's got that 110 look. Like, so it's got the look we like, but with reliability that we crave.
Well, we'll find that out, but I think it should be.
Is the theory.
Yeah, the theories,
Because they've been a wonderful project and it's lovely to see stuff.
Great watching
it. Because, what's the company behind that? They're involved with Mercedes F1.
Yeah, so Ineos.
Ineos.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah.
And did you know that the Ineos cycling team is actually, I've accidentally tagged them because it turns out the Ineos Grenadiers is a cycling team, not the automotive company.
Right, okay.
So I did have people laughing at me when I tagged the Ineos Grenadiers after I'd videoed the car. The other thing I really liked is despite all the changes in safety and the removal of them, it also has the Jesus handle for the passenger. It has the legitimate...
Didn't even notice it.
Mate, it has the pray bar.
Yeah.
And that is something that has been removed from most modern vehicles because...
Yeah, you got to hold up over your head now.
Yeah, you got to hold over your head, or Porsche put the little one in the middle.
Yeah.
But when I saw that in front, like, mate, that's the good old days.
Yeah.
That's holding on and... Like in the 60 series with your leaf springs.
That's
you're
right.
Just bouncing out of your seats.
Yeah, teeth rattling.
Yeah,
every filling that you thought you had, you don't anymore.
Mate, that's the glory. No, look, I am delighted to hear that you're a man that enjoys the whole spectrum, and even the Nissans, mate. Like,
We went through a couple of patrols there, and 3-litre hand grenades.
3-litre hand grenades, and that is a common problem. I had a friend message me about their 3-litre hand grenade that blew up the other weekend, and they were asking me my advice. And I said, look, you can rebuild, you can engine swap. And I said, look, I've tried to be kind here, but I also think that it's time to get a Land Cruiser.
Yeah, that's it. One of them I did 300 and something or other thou in.
There you go.
It felt fine. And the next one had, after about 100,000, it was going, a few different noises here.
It's such a shame because their whole thing with the coil springs and the
setup, off-road weapon,
unreal.
Yep.
One of the boys that rolls 60s, he actually sold his 60 and bought a similar vintage patrol, specifically because of the coils and the setups and just to try them back to back.
Yeah.
And he said, I don't want to say this out loud, but it's the better car. And I'm like, la, I don't want to hear that. Don't talk common sense at me.
But it was interesting also because they pretty much just looked at the old Range Rovers.
Yeah.
And so they taking what was on the old Range Rovers, going, we'll put that into a Nissan.
And that's the thing is those, they just lead the path. And see, this is what happens. You accidentally, you discover people like cars, and then all of a sudden we're like, whee, down the garden path.
Yep.
But again, it was the love of cars that created this accidental introduction.
Yeah.
But Dan, I was fascinated to talk to you because the brand that yourself and your brother have built, for people that have no idea and have never heard the word Bruder and are unsure why I'm excited, could you explain to me what Bruder does?
Wow. The long or the short one? So look, at the end of the day, we build expedition equipment, and so at the moment, so we're basically focused on the towables. So we build high-end expedition trailers. We wanted to, I guess, mix it up in terms of going, look, there's a lot of trailers out there that are based on the same type of thing that your little box trailer's based off, and then they put big tyres on it and call it off-road. We didn't want to do that at the end of the day, so we started up Bruder, and it's blossomed from there, I guess. Blossomed, when I say blossomed, it's always hard work, but
And the thing that blew me away is that there are some pretty big names around the world that have purchased your vehicle. Like, if I understand correctly, and I'm not sure if I can name drop, but like, I understand the Sultan of Brunei has a couple, if I have my people correct, and you don't have to confirm or deny, but I understand that they have made their way into the hands of people that know what's up.
Yes, absolutely.
Is a good way to say
it. No, there's people all around the world, so that's one of the parts that I really like about it. Is so we've got them. I remember, so I was back in 2017. I got this 2017. End of 2017. Got this clip of one of them going through the jungles in the Congo there, and we've got them through Africa. I think the wildest place we ever sent one was the Falkland Islands.
Oh, wow.
So we've got a trailer getting around there as well. So North, South America, in through, I was going to say, they were in Russia before everything started going wrong in Russia.
When it was still okay.
When we were still allowed to.
Yeah.
So we got them over there, obviously through Europe and.
Yeah, and it's unbelievable. And that's the part that I love, is that it is Australian designed, Australian manufactured. Like, you do it all here. It's here in Brisbane, in southeast Queensland, in our own backyard.
Yep.
And when you and I briefly spoke about it, you sort of said, obviously, if you're onshoring your manufacturing, you can't compete on price. Yep. So might as well just aim for being the best.
That's it. Or you can't compete on price. When I say you can't compete on price, it's the being able to build a quality product, though. So if you compete on value and a like for like, then you can compete on price.
Yeah.
But what we, I guess what we really focus on is trying to get it right. And then it's the quality, it's the design, it's, there's not one part of our trailer that doesn't interact with another part. It all works together.
And this is the amazing part of all of this. And I've, through at another point in time, I did get a chance to actually have a look through your factory. So like before we'd even met, and obviously I jumped at the chance to go and have a sticky bag. Yep. And so I've walked through and I've seen your product and I've seen the assembly and I've seen all the different areas where everybody does everything by hand. And it was sort of explained to me the level that you go to in every single thing that you do. You design these things from the ground up, and I think I've looked at and stared at your suspension componentry. That was sort of one of the big exercises, wasn't it? Because
we got that wrong a few times first as well, but that's imagine. What you do.
But again, talk me through that, because this is something that I'm fascinated by, because you've gone and developed something because it needed to meet pretty serious criteria and be able to go to pretty terrible places.
Yeah.
And you guys have just sat there and gone, okay, well, how do we solve this problem?
Yeah, we're pretty much. Look, I was blessed to have the upbringing that I've had in terms of going outdoors and full driving wherever we could go. So the whole premise was to basically build these things to limit the impact on the car, so to try and allow the car to go further than it would be possible otherwise. So things like how the suspension works, the wheel track that it sits in, the way in. So if you look at our suspension, it's got that little kick up in there. So things only go wrong when everything goes wrong.
So we designed them to have, if everything does go wrong, what's going to happen? So the swing arms themselves will actually, and the axle, where the actual axle actually sits, if you have a complete failure, the actual axle will sit up into the chassis. So the chassis is the lowest part. So we've got a winch at the back there. So if you're towing yourself backwards, you're not going to get hung up on any axles or anything like that. There's just this nice smooth part underneath to pull yourself out backwards with. If everything still fails, we designed it up with little bump stops inside there to so you still wouldn't break your shocks. So your shocks won't bottom out there. Then from that it's okay. Well, how does everything join? Where are the joins in it? How do you get the shocks to work properly? Which is something that most trailer manufacturers don't really look at. So it's okay. Why do we get the shocks to run up and down, straight up and down? Why do we put two on there? Why do we put the remote canisters on them? All those sorts of things, and it's basically so really trying to build something up that people can just go out in and don't have to think about. So when you're travelling along, we don't have the most, the biggest departure angles or approach angles or anything like that. You've seen plenty of four-wheel drives where they can just put big tyres on and get the body sky high, but that has compromises elsewhere. And so really what we're trying to do is hide a trailer behind a car, so that when you're going along, and there's plenty of places where you need big run-ups. And so if you need a big run-up, what's a trailer going to be doing behind you? And if you can't feel it, it's fantastic at the end of the day. So
that makes a lot of sense. And then you've gone all the way through in terms of your chassis construction, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that thing's so bloody strong that if it goes over, you can put it back up again? Is that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
so it can tip over, have a total rollover, complete failure.
Yep.
And you can just ride it again.
Push it back.
And that, because I've seen a video of that, and I'm like, what? Because anytime you see a trailer accident, and unfortunately you see a few, because people go and buy 3.5 ton trailer in a car that weighs 3.5 ton, and then put another ton into it, and then go whoops, which is bloody horrifying, and something that obviously needs more education around it. And you see these trailers that are aluminium, whatever, and they just collapse.
Yeah, just disintegrate
on themselves.
Yeah, so we did all of our, so right from the get-go, with our planning side, we wanted them to be able to be exported, right? We knew that from the get-go. So our widths were already determined by what can fit into a 40-foot container, as well as our heights and so on. The next big thing is, the types of tow vehicles are going to be towing. Okay, how wide, how skinny, whereabouts their wheels are, therefore how far or backwards we put our wheels and tyres on the trailer to really get them to work together as best as possible. And then, from there, it's the big thing is how the body actually interacts with the chassis. And so it was, we've got quite a rigid body that we put on there, and we actually did the engineering right from the get-go to be able to put, what was it? We had 200 kilos on any part of the body, whichever way, shape, form that came in on any 300 mil diameter. That was before any cabinetry or anything like that goes in. Now, in saying that, so really what we did was we created something that was a pain in the ass to manufacture.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. And we went, yep, this is awesome. And then we've gone, okay, well, now how are we going to build them? And so that was a journey, I guess, at the end of the day. And I guess you'll see in our product the learnings that we've had throughout that. So going from the XP6 to the XP4, we actually changed the way the chassis body works. And with the 4, we actually have a much bigger floor panel through there. And that actually takes the stress out of the chassis. So we're actually de-stressing the chassis, which means we can build that out of lighter material.
Nice.
You can build if you build that lighter, therefore you can build the next thing lighter, and so on and so forth. But then, the next thing is building them for all over the world. How are they going to react when it does get cold? And we don't get cold in Australia, so
come on, mate. 16 degrees. Got to get the scarf and the beanies.
Yeah, that's right. So the learnings that you can get from people overseas that actually understand what cold really means, and actually listening to them and going, okay, well, we can do this, this, and this. And don't get me wrong, we've come up with our own little solutions on how we can actually do things. And
because the expansion and contraction and those sorts of things. And
expansion, contraction, how one world works differently to another world at minus, when they're genuinely minus 20, and that's the maximum of the day. So what sorts of steels and alloys can you actually use that are able to do it? So we've gone through multiple iterations of different grades of steel, different types of welds, different types of joints. All those sorts of things, and trying to put that into, I guess, a package that mum and dad can take to Noosa North Shore, or it's that same package has to be able to go up to Iceland when it's blowing a gale and having a big snowstorm up there.
Which is just wild when you stop and think about it.
Yeah,
because I see with great sadness as Australian manufacturing fell apart over the last 30-something years. And I certainly think in the last 15 or so, we've all realised what a mistake that was. Because I was even at a thing the other weekend, and it turned out that was the old Alvi Reels factory.
Oh, yeah.
And they still had that up on the...
over at Carroll Park.
Yeah, up on the wall. And
Dad always had any fisher person worth their salt, you had the Alvi Reel. And it's been sad to watch it fall apart, and same in, the Australian automotive industry that, again, fell on its ass, and, it's all over. And then when those things collapse, they're very hard to bring back. And watching people like yourself who are, leading the charge in this, and there's a lot of great companies doing great things, they're very important stories in terms of where Australia is going, where we're going nationally, and our impact on the world. Because as important as we think we are, we forget how small and insignificant we are on a global stage.
Australia who?
Australia who. And in our own minds, because we have such a wonderful place to live and it's so relatively safe and all the good things, we forget that it is actually very hard to get these things up and going because of our population size, because of the distances, because of the shipping, because of the costs.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot of complexities to get around, and there's a lot of battles you've got to fight to make these sorts of things viable.
Yeah.
And I think it's a real credit to any of the people that are fighting those battles to bring that sort of manufacturing design, that sort of, world-class thinking, here in our own backyards. Because you're at, Carroll Park, Maruka, like this is, in the hood.
Yeah.
It's happening right here, right now. And it's something that needs a light shone on it to show people that not only is this possible, it's being done, and it can be done to an extraordinary level.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. So, don't get me wrong, there's some great government incentives and so on out there designed to help. Obviously, you always want more.
What are they? I'd love to know, because I know there's research and development grants and that sort of stuff.
There's R&D grants. There's a couple recently brought out by the Queensland government for. One is for energy saving. So if you've got a business, say like you here, if you're whacking a whole heap of energy saving equipment, you can actually apply for a couple of grants in that.
Really?
Yeah.
Because educate me, because despite my looking, I struggle to find these sorts of things.
They're not easy to find.
I've noticed.
They're not easy to find. They don't. It doesn't feel like it's an easy process. Look, in terms of being open for business, Australia probably falls backwards a little bit compared to a couple of other places. But there's, I think, I was trying to think, there's some couple of little manufacturing grants out there for a I'm trying to think of the terminology.
Yeah,
of them, but,
that's all right. And even if you think of it later, I'll throw them in the show notes because it's something that I've actively searched for, and I've really struggled because I had somebody tell me about the like R&D tax incentive and that one up to 250 grand or something. Whereas if it's a new thing that you're developing, and just trying to understand these things that are out there for other people that are pushing down those paths.
R&D was a great one for us. Export market development grants. There's those out there as well. So when you're trying to get your product out, from a growing company, they're quite hard because you've got the outlay first.
Of course.
So you've got to stump up with the cash, get your backside across there, then you can claim it, and hopefully your claim's approved. Those sorts of things. But yeah, so it's,
as I've more recently learned, the runway, how long your runway is, as I've been studying
for
capital raise and all these sorts of things. I'm trying to get my head around it, and I'm like,
yep,
you fucking what? And now that I've heard that word, I'm now seeing it.
Yes. Yep.
Everywhere. It's those sorts of things where, again, once your eyes are open to something and then you're like, because every little subset of all these things, there's a whole other, whole other can of worms.
Yeah, it's interesting. You go from being so product centric, to all of a sudden going, wow, I've got to learn how to run a business.
Yes.
And that's a totally different subset of things. And then you're going, hey, I'm running a business and I'm supposed to be developing a product. And you've got a family at home.
And you've got a family at home, and then you learn about, ADR compliance and all sorts of legislation, and you're there going, what? And these are the things, a very similar journey that I've certainly experienced was, you go into a thing because you're good at doing that.
Yep.
And then, then you've got to build a business, and you're like, oh, God damn it, I didn't want any of this.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to do the thing. And that is a complex journey.
Yeah, they're all exciting though.
Mate,
you go and it takes you to places that you never thought you'd be. You're doing things you never thought you'd be doing.
Oh, absolutely.
In terms of going down and buying a couple of cupcakes because it's someone's birthday at work. It's you go from that to I don't know, doing whatever other sort of normal businessy practices you've got to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then going and testing welds in negative 20 degrees.
That's right.
You're enjoying the entire buffet of life.
Yeah.
Now, Dan, obviously you don't just wake up one day building world class vehicles. What would be? What do you actually refer to them as? Do you have a phrase for the?
Look, we normally call them expedition vehicles.
Expedition vehicles.
Or expedition trailers. It's I guess it's a little bit more what we do.
Yeah, expedition trailers. That's a much better way to phrase it. So again, you don't wake up and just decide to do that. Take me back, young Dan. So you're a Brisbane boy.
Yep.
So you're a local.
I was actually born in Melbourne, but try not to hold that one with
At least
me.
you're not NZ, mate.
Yeah,
I had one from there recently, and we had to obviously throw in some abuse.
Just push the stop button.
Get out. Nah. Melbourne's all right. You saw the light, as most of them did during their 2 years of being locked down and ruined. They all realised that us rednecks actually had it right.
That's right.
All along. And we're like, shh, we're trying to tell you that we're, a bunch of big yeehaws. Don't come up here. We're trying to make you all scared.
We're still playing with bananas up here.
Absolutely. We don't want them to know that we actually live in the best part of Australia.
Yeah.
So born in Melbourne, came up here. When did you move up?
Wow. Right. I'm a bit all over the shop.
Yeah.
So I was born in Melbourne, then went to Papua New Guinea for a bit, and then into Darwin. And look, by the time I got to primary school, so grade 1, I was in Brisbane at the end of the day. So Dad was a pilot. We'd move around every couple of years.
Yeah.
Working for the old TAA back in those days.
TAA, because that Ansett, or am I?
No, that was
different?
Ansett were different, and then so TAA, who then became Australian Airlines.
And then down the toilet.
Yep. Or Qantas now.
Qantas.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, back in those days, so grew up. So primary school was out at Kenmore. Yep. So growing up there, we had a couple of acres out there back when Kenmore had a couple of acres still going around. Remember grade 2 was sitting in my classroom, and we used to live directly opposite the school there, and my horse got out, and so said to my teacher, "Oh, there's my horse." So she let me out of the classroom to take the horse back home and go across. I'm going, yeah, it's kind of those things that you don't get those sort of experiences in the city anymore.
No. Yeah. However, look, if you take your Range Rover to Brookfield, you will find plenty of horses and Range Rovers just down there.
Yeah, they're still out there.
Mate, that's still out there. That goes hard. The Brookfield show, if you've made an effort to get back there, that's... Mate, credit to them. They've held on to it.
I love it out there. Yeah, I used to do a bit of tree lopping and milling up at Brookfield there. When I was going through uni. So
Oh wow! So spent most of your years there in Kenmore. So growing up.
Yeah, most of the years in there at Kenmore. So from grade 10, I think, grade 9, moved across to Germany. So spent about 4 years over in Germany there.
Seriously?
So lived. So Dad was flying for a company that's just a subset of Lufthansa over there. So Toby, who I'm in, obviously in business with, he's a few years younger than me. So he did 4 or 5 years in German primary school. So he came back as a little kid with a nice little thick German accent. And he's lost that now, well and truly. But
bloody hell! How did you find that when you got that news of by the way, son?
We're moving to Germany.
Yeah.
No, you used to. Yeah,
it's just what happens.
Yeah, that's what happens. So
fair enough.
Went across to Germany, go straight into a German school, and
that would have been a hell of a time. Yeah, how was that? Rocking up on the first day, and you're like, "G'day, mate." And
but also an awesome time in world history to be over there. You know, the wall had only just come down.
Wow.
So father had gone over there a year before.
So this was 90 or?
Yeah. So whatever. I can't even remember. Whatever.
Wall came down 89.
Yep. Yeah. So it would have been across there end of 89.
Wow. Yeah, that was a hell of a time.
Yeah. So I would have been over there 91, 92, and back here for boarding school 93, and then back over there for 94.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a change. Whereabouts in Germany were you based?
Just north of Frankfurt, so a little place called Wehrheim, which is just, father went over there and had a look, found a nice little place for us to be. So it was, nice little small village, and
Beautiful. Look, it is a nice part of the world.
Oh, it is, gorgeous. Just what I like about it is just European's quite different.
Very different.
To how it is in Australia from a climatic side. And I remember doing a fair bit of mountain biking over there, and it was a couple of weird experiences. So I remember we used to take off on our bikes, as you do with 4 brothers at the end of the day. Just riding along, and next thing I heard was just this big brrr, and somehow we ended up on it was a US tank training place.
Oh shit!
Yeah, and anyway, so we're riding down through these what we thought were big mud holes, but that's where the tanks were running through. Went over, and there you go. Like, how'd you get in here? It's like, well, just follow the track, and I didn't see any signs. Not that I can remember anyway.
No. That's super.
But anyway, just went across, chatted to him, and go, how do we get out of here? And he goes, well, go down there, and out you go.
Back the same way you came in, fellas. Turn around and keep it moving. Oh, what a wonderful experience in your sort of teenage years to go and see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you learn to drive over there too? Bit of Autobahn action?
Yeah. Insane. So what you could do was you'd get your... so I got my learners obviously over here, but then your learners allowed you to get an international driver's permit. And so you just go from your learners straight to your international driver's license and then straight onto the Autobahn.
Yes.
It was pretty much the way it was. The car that we had at the time maxed out at 165. It was an old Peugeot 605, I think, the old station wagon thing over there. And she wouldn't go any faster than that.
But geez, I'll bet you tried.
Oh, yeah. I was like tapping on that firewall.
Mate, so, downhill with a tailwind going, come on.
That's it. Go.
However, their standard of driving and the rules and the way that people adhere. Like and when an emergency services vehicle comes through and they know to just pull to the side and make the space, whereas you see it here and you'll hear in the back of my podcast the occasional ambulance ripping up Ipswich Road. When they come up behind people here, they just freak out and go, don't know what to do.
No, that's
whereas
it.
you watch the standard and the quality of education and training, people just get it.
Absolutely, it's the education and training. Exactly like you said, that they actually have to do they have to learn properly.
Yes.
At the end of the day.
Yes.
And don't get me wrong, like the laws are, when you do something wrong, you get the book thrown at you.
You get a belting,
which is which I do like. But it's things like trying to pass down the freeway and just pulling over to the side.
How good are the rules though?
And just going, as soon as you're in the fast lane, you get your backside back off out of there as soon as you're.
And if someone's coming up behind you, they're giving you the flash. You just move over. It's not being rude. You don't have to brake check me.
No, that's right.
Like you're only in that left-hand overtaking lane if you're belting.
Yep. And they hammer.
Oh yeah, left indicator on. Give it the berries. That's still one of my favourite things to do.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. But it always astonishes me whenever I come home because you think it's M1 standard.
Yep. Why are we only travelling?
Why are we doing this? And why do people not know the overtaking lane is only for overtaking? And like really simple things.
Yep. Like you think they would be simple.
Like, where have we gone wrong? Where is the education and training here to explain how this works so that we could all do it just that little bit better?
That's right. It'd be the breeze getting down to the Goldie.
Be so good for the rest of us. But look, the self-driving cars will take care of that. And Skynet will sort us out. Look, unfortunately. Do you get many Teslas towing your stuff around just as a side note?
With one of them, so with our battery packs and so on, we very much cater for the full off-grid experience. I actually had one of the trailers over at Mum and Dad's place, and we're trying to run their house off the entire trailer.
Oh, shit.
With the battery pack and stuff in it. Yeah, no, it went pretty well. Nice. And so we've actually put little car chargers into the trailers. So the concept being that because electric vehicles are pretty crap at towing in terms of the amount of power that they need.
Not great. I understand that. Even when you put roof racks on, you like significantly drop your...
Yeah. So so what we're actually doing was going, okay, well, if we've got electric car towing it, how do we actually use the trailer to charge the car so it can actually increase its range rather than decrease its range?
Push power back.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
So that's what we've been working on. So there's what are those little Ford Lightnings over in the States?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to do something with them over there. So anyway, so we've been playing with those and getting all those sorts of concepts together.
Fantastic side note. And then I'm just over here praying that we sort out the like your biofuels. They figure that out.
Yep.
Toyota keep pushing on hydrogen. Somebody keeps pushing biofuels. I'm like, let's just keep those things going.
That's it. Yeah, no, I think the hydrogen hydrogen's got some legs there.
Yeah, well, that's one of the ones that I'm.
Well, it's just interesting. Like, I mean, with batteries, the big thing, I mean, for me about it is you're probably obviously into your cars, and then you're buying and selling cars. And so when you're buying and selling cars, you'd like to do something to a car that can either increase its value or at least maintain its value. And just with batteries going, well, why would you buy a car with used batteries? Because you're going to have to chuck them out. And
they're going to need a full replacement.
That's right.
And they're not good for recycling, and they're bad things have to happen to make them. And let's just ignore the mining in the Congo. And
that's right.
And you're there going, oh God, this is not great. Like this is not sustainable long term. I get where we're going.
Yeah, like I understand the core theories and stuff behind it. It's like, absolutely.
And the tech is incredible.
Oh yeah,
like hats off. The bloody Teslas. My brother bought one of those, much to my disgust.
Yep.
And look, I've driven it.
You've disowned him since?
Look, I work with him too, so
all right.
I can't. We're shackled together for life. It does nothing that brings me joy. As a driving experience, it's revolting.
Yeah.
Like the acceleration is horrible, the braking is horrible, the steering is horrible. Everything that I like about a car, it does badly. Everything else is brilliant.
Yeah.
But like as a driver and an enthusiast of automotive,
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Whereas my Barra, mate, like,
Oh, yeah.
my Falcon, and you just,
you
it's-
only got to turn the key. Yeah.
and it's making all the noises, and you hear the thing coming on boost, and you can just punt around in it gently, and then if you want the gates of hell to open, you just make sure you go over 3,000 RPM, and just the symphony
Yes.
of magnificence.
Yep.
I don't get any of that in the Tesla.
There's no induction noise or exhaust.
No. Whereas, when it sounds like a jet engine, just, oh, mate, I can never get enough of that. Anyway, we get distracted, and that was because I was dreaming in Autobahn of your learning to drive experience. So your time in Germany there was obviously reasonably,
Good fun.
reasonably good fun. And then you've come back to board in Brisbane.
Yeah, we're to St. Peter's.
St. Peter's.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
I actually didn't even realise that boarding at St. Peter's.
Yeah, yeah.
Do they still?
Yeah, I think so.
There you go.
Yeah.
Just not across my Brisbane boarding schools, unfortunately. And so you did your final. Was that like 11, 12?
Just grade 12.
Just grade 12.
Yeah, just came back
so that you
grade
could get.
12.
Because what did we get back then? I can't remember. It was OP.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? I think they're
so
still
OP,
there.
so you can go to uni. So
How'd you go? Did you do all right?
no, not really.
No?
Look, no, it wasn't.
How'd you fall in the bell curve?
I can't even remember.
Oh, turn it
They're
up.
right out.
How can you
Hey,
forget, mate? I was
yeah.
a 15, so I was the dead centre of below average.
No, I went. So I did that, and then so I actually did marine biology.
Did you really?
Up at James Cook. So I went back to Germany.
Yeah.
But then so went back there and did because they did an external course.
They've got free uni, if I recall correctly, as well over there.
Over in Germany. Yeah, my German wasn't quite the strength that it would require to
Gotcha.
do German university. Yeah,
Fair enough.
don't get me wrong, I can order my food, but
Anything
yeah,
past that.
yeah,
Not marine biology probably would have been pretty shitty with ho-hum
that's
German.
right. Yeah, had when things get to 4 or 5 syllables in German, you try to start going, nah, that's not good.
No good. Understood.
Yeah,
So marine biology.
yeah, I don't know, just
Science.
something to do. Yeah,
Science mind, is that
Yeah,
what it is? Or math and science?
So maths and science mainly. So enjoy that type of thing. I think the only reason I ended up passing English at school was because of oral presentations.
Yeah, there you go. So you could wing it with
That's right.
with a
Yeah,
bit of style.
made the teacher laugh. So I was like, got this.
Got it. Yeah, there's nothing behind this, but
No.
I've got excellent showboating.
Yeah.
Well
thinking
done.
on my feet. So went across to Germany there, or went back there again after boarding school. Then came back and ended up doing education. So
Yeah, right.
ended up so I majored in maths and phys ed, and then I taught out at Runcorn High for how long was it? Close on 10 years.
Really?
Yeah, out there, and then I always said that I didn't want to. I don't want to sound. I'm probably going to have teachers that are going to be listening to this at some point, but I found that I didn't want to be that whinging teacher, and I literally walked into the staff room one day, found myself whinging. I went, right, I'm out of here.
This is the end.
Yep.
And look, you can say that, and I too can, because my mother is a teacher, her sister is a teacher. There is a strong lineage of teachers.
Yeah.
And with the greatest love and respect, there is a little bit of complaining.
Yeah.
Especially when you make light of the number of weeks of holiday.
Oh yeah. Always.
And look, I'm just a smart ass. I actually have nothing but respect for, people shaping the lives of our young people. And I think that it is a very tough job.
Yep.
But I have also noticed that, it's a thing I think where you can just get stuck.
Absolutely.
In
I
that
think
world, and it
very
becomes
easily.
very insular.
Yep.
And I think that has its downside.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that I don't think teachers actually appreciate either is how diverse their skill sets actually are.
Absolutely.
They've got a huge diverse skill sets, everything from project planning through to,
you're doing media presentations. I mean, that's what you do.
Absolutely.
So you're acting. You're doing all these sorts of things.
And then their IT knowledge as well these days would have to be pretty spot on.
Well above mine. I'm back to PowerPoint again,
mate. And look, I think that there would be real advantage in having the opportunities to do more things, in and around and outside of the classroom.
Yep.
For their own, for the benefit of.
Yeah.
But look, who am I to preach?
Yeah. Well, one of the things I used to love doing with teaching was going with the at-risk kids and or the naughty boy group, whichever one you want to call it.
Absolutely.
But we used to take them bushwalking or driving up the beach, that type of thing. We'd make sure that they're all sleeping by themselves, and you see some kids that thought they were pretty tough, and they hear a possum and their eyes light up pretty quickly.
Freaking out.
Yeah.
But see, that's lovely, and they're potentially kids that haven't had the opportunity to do those sort of things.
Yeah, absolutely.
See those parts of life, and
but doing those sorts of things were really rewarding in the teaching profession. I've actually got one of the guys still work with. Used to teach him. So I've had a few guys that work with us now at Brüder.
Mate, full circle.
That I actually used to teach, and you see them come out there and. They sort of look at you strangely when they walk in because they don't know what I'm doing or anything like that, and you're sitting there Mr. Bosschieter? It's like, yes.
And then you're there, you stand on the chair, oh, Captain, my Captain. No.
But,
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And so you hit a moment there where you went, I've enjoyed this, but this isn't my trajectory.
Yeah, much to my wife's disgust, I guess, at the end of the day, because I think she most probably would have been, she was pregnant or we'd just had one, whichever way that was.
Terrible timing.
Yeah. Spot on timing.
Yeah, not great.
But so I started, worked with a group that were doing some black and grey water recycling things in back when the droughts were on here.
Absolutely. Because did you finish marine biology? Did you?
No.
So
just only did a year.
Yeah. So started that and went.
It went across to. I did really well with all the subjects apart from biology. So I was like, probably not the ideal one for me here.
Doesn't make sense because I was just looking at then going into, I guess, what is water science.
Yeah.
And I went, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. But then so I did that, and then a few things happened there. Then sort of found myself and what was I doing? So I was up on the beach one day and then I just went, don't mind a bit of building, doing that with my hands. So mate put me on as an apprentice for a bit. And so, renovated a place at Tarragindi there.
Yeah, right.
It shows how to do that while I was working on other houses and that type of thing.
How good.
And then, so from there we basically on the beach going, what am I going to do now? And then, struck, what was I doing? So I was there with South African mate and little brother going, okay, well, Toby was working on the Escape with ET show at that time. So he was a presenter on Escape with ET, the full driving gear and that type of thing. So I went, okay, we know that we'd be able to advertise them and that type of thing. And had a look through, and there was a company over in South Africa called Conqueror. And so we went, okay, let's shoot them an email. So shot them an email, jumped on a plane 3 days later. Then all of a sudden we'd formed Conqueror International, Conqueror Australia. Had a look at the product, going, good product, but it's not going to be able to sell in Australia. You only have to do A, B and C to be able to sell it over here, because just the way we camp versus the way they camp. And changed that up, and then so started up the Conqueror side of things, and then we got that to a point where we're doing homologation for that, because we were basically we'd bring them across, we'd rip them apart, so we'd put new chassis, that type of thing on them, and then sell them under the Conqueror Australia side, to the point where people in South Africa were wanting the product that we were doing over here, and then trying to sell it back over there. And then, so that's how the homologation and this whole international and trying to get it across to the States, working it out how it's going to get into the US.
Yeah, wow.
And look, at the end of the day, we ended up having Look, it's probably more about communication than anything else, but there were some communication breakdowns in the boardroom, and so everything sort of went a bit pear-shaped there from a boardroom perspective. And then, Toby and myself went, well, we're out of this. And the day that finished, we were in the car and driving up into Arnhem Land. And so we spent, I think we spent probably about 3 months or so sort of on the road going around, met Mum and Dad up there. And then, we're watching Mum and Dad getting in and out of a King Swag. We went, okay, well, let's build them something. So we started building a trailer. And then, so from there, we went, so in terms of the design concepts of the 6, and so started building it. We wanted that indoor-outdoor type of living. How does it get low enough? How does it get high enough to actually go off-road through creek crossings? How does it get low enough? And so basically started knocking up a trailer for them, and then we went, oh, let's do all this. Let's do this all again properly. And so then, so we, at the end of the day, formed Brüder after that. And
so your mum and dad
properly and
were integral in the R&D.
Oh, absolutely, they still are.
As you watch them.
Oh, they still are. They take out all our prototypes.
Really?
Dad's great at pushing buttons from as an airplane pilot.
As a pilot, absolutely, and he'd know a thing or two about a thing or two. So would be a good
absolutely
research partner.
Yeah, so we're just they still do it now.
Have they still got the original? Have you? Still
we've still got the original.
The first one.
We've still got 001 there.
Far out.
So it's been pulled apart and put back and pulled apart and put back several times now. So
that's a serious piece of history there.
Yeah. So some of the staff still take that out for camping trips and so on. So took it out a couple of weeks ago myself. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's still going well.
So your mum and dad are classic grey nomads. They love hitting the road here in Australia, or
so they're forced to use certain products.
Oh, of course they are.
That's it.
Where are you going this weekend?
Yep.
Take this.
That's it. Take this. This is what we've done differently to it, and then
tell us what you think.
Yeah, but that's also amazing. From my perspective, it's I know the product's going well if I don't get a phone call, because it's, oh, Dan, how does this work? Oh, what have we done? Yep.
Absolutely.
And you go, okay, well, it's, I think we made a couple of, what you're trying to do from a design side is how do you make it more user-friendly?
Yeah.
Because you got all these concepts in your head, you know exactly how it's going to work. If they get into this scenario, you know exactly what they have to do. But it's how do you make it easy?
And engineering simplicity is actually quite complex.
Oh, hugely. Absolutely huge. Like, your touchpads and how do you make your interface that little bit easier? How do you how do you get these systems rolling in the background so that they don't even have to think about it? And so it's like with our suspension as well, it's like, how do we do it so that they don't have to go from A to B. So our systems go from load sharing to fully independent, and you're going, well, that's going to be too complex because people are going to forget about it and jump in and out. So then it's about how do you get the air to flow at the right speeds at the right times to not have them actually have to worry about it. So
see, that's wild, and there'd be nothing like far out. I could imagine if my old boy was road testing anything for me. Oh, Jesus, the number of phone calls I'd get on that one.
Oh yeah. No, but it's good.
But it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And they won't sugarcoat it for you either. They'll be like, mate, what? What were you thinking?
No. Look, Mum's got a lovely way of expressing how to do it. It's like, I love you, but
I love you, but. This is shit. Can you rework this for us, please?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, that's gold.
Yeah.
Oh, that is unreal. And so you built that one for them. They were aware that it was being built, or was that a surprise?
Yeah, no. I was building it in their garage.
Classic.
Yeah. So good old proper startup.
Oh, mate, proper startup.
Yeah.
Mum and dad's backyard, putting the thing together.
Yeah.
That's extraordinary.
Yeah. So in the garage there, and it's a couple of things. Like when you're doing that real prototyping phase, and so at that time, when we were kicking off. Now we've got computer designers and they can do all the FEA analysis and all those sorts of things to know that it's not going to break before we try and break it. Back when we were doing the first ones, we didn't know what was going to break. We didn't know. But then, it's a blessing in disguise. Remember one of our first trips up to Fraser, we broke the suspension on it, and then went, oh, we're up here, let's just have some fun. So we left it there. We hid it behind a sand dune and camped up the top for the next couple of days, and then came back, picked it up, and drove it back out. So when I say it broke, it's it's some of the things that we actually patent now on our suspension to know, hey, if you don't get that part right, it's not going to work. So, yeah.
But that's the only way you can find out. Like,
absolutely.
You got to take things to and past their limit.
Yeah, and Fraser Island's a terrible place to do R&D as
well.
Yeah.
But even just the middle road there, to get across from Kingfisher to the other side, I mean, that's a beatdown. Like, to get a trailer across that.
So all of the trailers have all run across there, left, right, and up and down, and we run the 4 up over Nagala, all that sort of stuff. So
because that's how you get the respect locally.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You go, mate, you just walk it through Nagala, and people are like, good.
Yeah,
that's because again, anybody in the know knows.
That's right. Yeah, from the locals around here,
and whether or not you get bogged at Inskip Point.
Yeah,
so
that's right. Yeah, so the good old Inskip there, and
some of my favourite videos. There's hours of joy watching those.
Yeah.
My favourite is the people with like 21-inch tyres and they don't.
Oh yeah.
And they're just cooked.
Or it's either that or the other ones are in particular the 200 series guys. When they've got a 200 and they haven't realised that you've got to turn off your traction control to actually be able to turn it off. You go, no, just push it and hold it, and all of a sudden the car will dance for you.
And they miss that.
Yeah.
Or
and they
towing
miss that.
something enormous.
Yep.
And whenever I have a friend buy their first 4-wheel drive, I actually send them videos of there, and I'm getting because they do you really need to let your tyres down? The dealer says it'll do everything, and I'm like, watch this video. Don't be this person.
Oh, I saw this cracking one the other day. Someone sent it because they knew the little Ineos is coming. Of this Ineos bogged over at Moreton.
Oh, mate, I had that sent to me as well.
The one where he's got 30 PSI.
And where they're going, this has to be a joke.
Yeah.
Like, this is a piss take.
Yeah.
There's no way this is real.
Yeah. And it's going 30 PSI, going, okay, you're in trouble yourself to start with. Yeah. Anyway, people, don't get wrong. You got to learn somewhere.
Mate, you got to learn.
Yeah.
And the 30 PSI club at Bribey Island, if you've ever done the road on and off there, geez, that gets untidy.
Oh, yeah, real fast, particularly on a public holiday or something like that.
You got 30 cars backed up in each direction, and you've got 3 people sideways on the road, and you're like,
Yep, and then someone tries to pass everyone, and they get bogged even worse further up. And,
the joys. And see, that's why the road testing locally, like, it's one of the reasons I actually love, like, Southeast Queensland as much as I do. Because you've got the islands, you've got the bush, you go west, you're up in the mountains.
Yep.
Like each direction you go, you get a little bit of rainforest north and south. Like within an hour radius of Brisbane.
Yeah.
Like whatever you're into outdoors wise, if it's boats, cars, motorbikes, camping, like it's just all
absolutely,
here. And the fact that you can go and trail these things, and I'm sure you blokes have done a few runs up Big Red and a few of the other good things.
Yeah. So when we're trying to do a bit of filming or something like that, we just jump in the car. Because we know if we leave early in the morning, we'll still be out. There's a couple of spots on the way out there that are really good for filming. So we'll get out. Sort of Windura, sort of around that sort of area there in through the Diamantina.
Yeah. We
know that if we leave at 3 o'clock in the morning, we'll get there before dusk and we can get a few shots in that day.
Magic.
Yeah.
See, it just we are just so lucky because I'm going and doing 14 rivers with this weekend with my buddy. We're taking the 60s out there.
Okay.
Because it's just
that's the Condamine
2 hours.
River Road?
Condamine.
Yeah, it's lovely through
it's
there.
It's so close. It's so beautiful. Yeah. Actually, this extra bit of rain we might have to check, but because obviously when we get a good chunk of rain, it gets pretty untidy pretty fast.
Yeah.
But we are just so blessed with what we've got here.
Yep. That road there is one of the ones that the kids, because we always used to do it when it got really hot, because we've got a pool now, which is lovely. But back in the day, we didn't have a pool. We'd jump in the car, and the kids would jump out and go for a swim at every one of the creek crossings.
Magic.
And so just go for a drive and bang, bang, bang. It's great for a day drive.
Oh, just absolute magic. And you got the falls there as well, and like everything about it. We are just, It is a wonderful place. I'm getting again sidetracked and distracted here in my mind at the at the magic of this place. But so you're out there, so R&Ding these vehicles. You've got chassis number one. Yeah. And was this the intention that you sort of went, look, let's build this one for mum and dad, and this will be the prototype of where this whole thing's going to go?
Yep.
Or that was the full intention?
Yep. And just going, hey...
We know this.
Yeah, we know...
Let's just do it.
Yep, how to get off-road, all those sorts of things. Obviously, from being in the industry for a while as well, knowing the people in the industry.
Yeah.
And also, I guess it was the how to market. That's it's one of Toby's really strong points in terms of how do we film it, and it's really interesting from a design perspective, being able to know with him and going, okay, how about we do this, this, and this, and he's going, nah, can't even film or show that. And so we're going bang, bang, bang. How do we, when we're literally designing things, we actually know how we're going to market it, what type of trips we have to go for, who our target market is going to be, why we're doing all these sorts of things right from the get-go.
Because what's his background? How does it fit together there?
Well, he was born after me.
Yeah, I got that. Yeah, mate, he's the whippersnapper.
Yeah. Well, he's what's Toby? So he's about 6'6", 6'7", that sort of mark. So me and my middle brother we're the short ones. So Toby's background was in. So he was a presenter for a while there with Escape with ET, and got along really well with a couple of really good camera guys in particular, and editors and so on. And so he was able to, because he got along well with them, and so all of a sudden, they showed him how to use the cameras, and then from an editing perspective, when to use sound, when not to use sound, what's the volume like, what do you have with what type of shot. We spend a lot of time in terms of, going through all of those sorts of things as well, and driving around, and it's after doing that for so many years with your brother. So we'll go out if we're trying to get a shot, or whether we're doing R&D or what we're actually doing. But I'll just know what sort of shot he's trying to get and drive the car in the right manner to do that without having to say anything. So
just intuitive.
Yeah.
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah, you just get used to it, and then you go and you'll see a couple of whales. It's like there's a couple of whales out there, or sharks, or whatever else, and then trying to get things in the right spot, and
people have asked me, because my brother and I have worked together, going on 14 years now, and they're like, mate, is that weird? Do you guys fight? And I'm like, nah, because he and I are very similar, but polar opposites. So, I'm sort of probably a bit louder and a bit loose and a bit wild, whereas, he's very conservative, very analytical, very, and there's a yin and yang between the two of us, where people go, oh God, wouldn't it be great to have, I need another one of myself. And I'm like, kind of got that. Yeah. Where and I've found that to be really wonderful. And
I
not something I expected.
I absolutely love working with brother.
Yeah.
No two ways about it. It's fantastic at the end of the day. And you think about it as a business partner or something like that, they're never going to try and do something wrong, or they've always got your back, and it's everything that you're doing, you're genuinely compiling on top of each other's work.
Definitely, because you both just want the best for each other.
Yeah.
And, the best for each other's families, and I've found that part of it to be really lovely.
Yeah.
And a genuine surprise, because we didn't get along that well when we were younger, as is often the case. And even I look out of school, I still remember, I was like because as the eldest, I felt like I had a much more difficult run. And as the youngest, mate, he just waltzed on through, and I'm like, yeah, come on, mate. And he went through a path where, didn't do very well at uni, was on like academic probation, and then went and just spent, gap year, like peeling potatoes and stuff in a UK pub, and obviously realised that as good as all those things are, he should probably knuckle down and sort his shit out. And he ended up doing marketing, and I remember reading his stuff and going, geez, pretty switched on.
Good.
And it's been really funny because I was just chatting to him at a family barbecue, and I'm like, mate, I'm going to start a business. What do you reckon? Do you want to have a go too? Because that's his joke. He's like, he's never had a real job.
Okay. Well, it's But yeah, anyway,
it's just weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's a lovely thing. It's a lovely thing and very unexpected. Because I was interested to know how he worked in with that. But the media side makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And having somebody in house that can then build all that stuff. Because your videos are always really beautiful.
Yeah.
And this all now makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yes.
So are you more of the science mind? Is that you, or is that
so science mind?
No,
sounds, I don't know.
or the engineering mind,
we both,
or you both
sort
of
both
contribute
enjoy
equally?
playing with cars.
Yeah, just the making stuff.
Playing with cars, going, okay, how do we make this better, faster?
Yeah.
How do we, buy that? I mean, I can't think of the last time I bought a car that wasn't stripped apart or something pulled off it within the first, couple of hours. So.
Same, to the great displeasure of my wife.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
How does that go down on the home front?
Yeah. No, it's I've just got to be a bit longer at work now.
Because I bought a wife my car recently, and I was googling how to make it go faster, and she's like, "Don't fucking touch my car."
No, her cars. I don't know. Her cars generally have fights with curbs.
Yes,
so
the
good old black paint out and.
Yes, I'm familiar with these battles.
Yeah.
Okay, so Bruder, and sorry, I do get distracted, as is part of the fun. Mate, Chassis 001, how did that go from prototype to beating the crap out of it on Fraser Island to a product coming to market?
Wasn't... Basically, it was like, we saw the parts that went wrong in it. And, one very important guy that I forgot to mention is also my wife's uncle. And so he's actually not industrial engineer, design engineer.
Ah, handy.
And so,
Trying to figure out where that came from.
That's right, yeah. And so we were, when we were playing with suspension designs and so on, so he, what he certainly did very well was sexied a few things up on it.
Yeah, okay.
Rather than going from the good old box section, parts on the swing arm to actually go, let's, he was quite integral in some of the parts now that we are quite anal about and going, no, it needs to have form and function. So if it doesn't look good, it's not going on. If it's just straight functional, how do we make that part look good, make it fit? All of those sorts of things.
Yeah,
so,
wow.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to figure out in my own mind where that had come from, where that sort of strength, because there is something I see when I look at your products as somebody, from a design, I tell people I do colouring in. Yeah. But when I look at things and go, that's really beautiful, there is an aesthetic to what you guys produce.
Absolutely.
Where you can stand back and look at it and go, that just is art.
Yeah, and so, it's simple things like, don't get me wrong, it's hard to manufacture, which was one part that I was talking about, but our chassis actually forms the shape of the body. So if you looked at the EXP6 in particular, you'll notice that the chassis actually has the chamfers underneath, which mimic the parts on the top, which is a pain in the ass to build, but looks good, and it's actually, in terms of an actual form, in terms of an actual function, it's there to stop the trailer getting bashed up, because we don't run the same type of floor in it as we do on the other ones. So it forms this whole underlying bash plate effectively, and
even how that interacts between the chassis and the body. So we've got a flat floor that comes and sits down, and we run a how would I put it? So it's kind of like an engine mount, effectively more like a car ladder chassis type of arrangement where there's a body mount on there, and so the body actually can move at a different rate to the chassis itself. And we found that was just a really good way of protecting high-end electronics and that type of thing inside.
Because the vibration and the corrugations and those sorts of things, that's where a lot of stuff comes unstuck.
That's right.
Travelling Australia is people just don't acknowledge
and so
the damage.
Yeah,
that
so
does.
all of that's working underneath there, but how do you get that to look good from the side? And so we've actually, on the 6, we actually cover that up on the side, and that's why we then changed the way the chassis works underneath to just to get that look to look like it's one piece.
Wow. A lot of thought going into these things. Yeah. So he helped, and that was back on 01. He had a look
absolutely.
at that.
Yeah,
Did you invite him in, or he just couldn't help himself?
No.
He went past and
I
was
sat
like,
down with him, kind of, this is what I'm doing, and this is what we want to.
And go, can you have a look over this? Because I'm just imagining him coming around to a family barbecue and going, bloody hell, boys, look, this is good, but.
No, that's pretty much it. So he's moving down to Brisbane soon. So
proper family business, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone's involved.
CEO's is my uncle.
There you go.
So,
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Mate, that is really lovely. And you put it to market.
Yep.
How did that go?
Pretty good. So when we put it to market, those initial videos went pretty well. I say pretty well.
Had it like, because there's two things that generally happen: A, crickets; B, bananas.
Yeah.
Did they go?
Yeah, they were
wild.
They were wild for that period of time in terms of.
Do you recall the numbers? I'm interested. I actually don't know, but tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions.
Yeah. So it's in the millions.
Solid.
Yeah,
that's even solid today, mate. Like if you can crack 1 million today, you're actually doing pretty well. I'm sure.
So I think I remember seeing one of the articles that came up about it. But look, don't get me wrong, it's calculated.
Of course it is.
So you're releasing it to the right people, and knowing who those right people are in the market, getting third-party endorsements, letting those guys actually use the trailer, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of people out there that do reviews and those sorts of things that don't know what they don't know.
Sure.
And one person's version of off-road driving versus another one. When someone talks about a performance trailer or driving fast with a trailer, what are they talking about? So that went well. I think it got, what was it called? It's like something along, I think someone put something about it's the only automotive thing that actually kept up with the Kardashians on social media, something like that. But
mate, that's high praise.
Yeah, but no, it goes well. Like our social media platforms go pretty well. But once again, it's learning about how that all works and making sure that we've got a product to back that up as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's one thing having the razzle dazzle. Yeah. But if it doesn't meet the expectation,
absolutely,
then that can falls down.
And then wow. But Toby really looks after that side of it, and so we'll go out filming. We'll talk about what we're going to be filming, why we're doing it. I think one of the big things for us is really the weight and being able to go that little bit further. So we've done them in the past. So we've got just in terms of using different materials. So we've done a couple of full carbon fibre bodied ones now, and those sorts of things, and test them properly. So
are they in the market, or are they still at development stages?
I don't know when they're actually getting launched. If not, if it's not already in the market, it will be in the next week or so.
Oh wow. Because that's a hell of a thing. Because you look at all the hypercars and the supercars with their carbon monocoque chassis.
Yeah.
How far that development's going.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's right from the get-go, once again, we put probably what's sort of showing now is, I guess, a lot of things that we thought about and wanted to do right from the very start, but you don't have the capital to pull them off. So it's things like your full carbons and so on through there. With our expansion into the commercial market as well. That's why we did the engineering the way we have with them. I mean, the EXP8, that actually started life as mobile geological laboratories for Saudi Aramco over in the Middle East there. And so we're going, okay, well, if we're using that, how else can we use this platform? But then the way we actually construct them allows us to go straight from our materials that we use now, which are high-end, lightweight materials, and then just using a carbon in there as opposed to the other products that we use there, or to go to a ballistic grade. It actually doesn't change anything in our manufacturing process, so they're built exactly the same way.
Wow, because that was a side of it, and again, I don't know how much you can chat about, but you obviously have, because there's the arm for people who just want to go camping, but then you also create commercial solutions for remote
absolutely
access.
So just I guess with the knowledge base that we can draw on now within the group, we can so people go, hey, I want to camp at 60 degrees for 2 weeks. This is the conditions. This is what I want to do inside of it. Design it, build it, and give it to me at the end of the day.
Because I hadn't even thought of that, when I sort of looked at your products. But you go, these are just fantastic mobile workstations that, could be built out in any way and utilised however you need.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we've got the Geo Labs. There's, how would I put it, some more forward command type of systems there. There's, I was trying to think what I'm going to... what I can and can't say.
And absolutely, and that's it. And I'm not trying to throw you under the bus here. It was more just the fact that, along, I guess, with your, what is your retail product, the fact that you also have, commercial product that is utilised for difficult places to go and work.
Oh, yeah, and there's also the full-blown just bespoke builds.
Yeah. Oh, right. So you guys will do a custom ground up.
So like I was saying before, some guy goes, for example, Middle East, they want to go camping, and one of them's just a toilet shower, the other one's just a lounge room, and then the other one's a gym. Wow. And we basically put the solar array so they all join together and work as one big bank, and then you put all sorts of other gear in them, and then it depends on how light or what they're towing them with, as opposed to what you build the actual materials, the actual trailer itself out of, and
how incredible!
Yeah, a lot of fun.
Have you built? Because I know that you're sort of restricted by your 40-foot shipping container. Have you built things to other scales?
No, everything so far has been. Now, when I say fits in, they're tight.
Oh, bloody bet they are. Millimetres of tolerance.
Yeah. So they're probably a little bit too tight in some instances, but so we sort of that's if you go too much bigger, trying to actually drive off road,
not great.
And it's just it's like how far do you actually want to get, and if you don't want to go what I would personally do, then okay, yes, we can go something bigger. But I generally want to go where my car could go by itself, and going, okay, how big can I actually make it? So,
and that makes sense, I guess, that you can't really, because I'm just having pictures in my mind of like the big gangster motorhomes that we have at motorsport events, and the sides go out and it's got full size.
Oh, I got
master
got a really cool photo the other, just when you're saying at the motorsports events. Got a really cool photo of a guy at the what was the Formula One just in Texas the other day. So it was there with a big Texan flag behind it, and they were all there watching the Formula One and camping up there.
See, that'd be the surreal part as well, wouldn't it? When you see your product just kicking around the world and all the cool things
it's really weird
that it's doing.
Yeah.
And that sort of first stage where you went from, the initial product. So that was the 6.
Yep.
That's correct in
Yes,
the lineage of
Yep.
products. How many years did you sort of run the 6 until you went to the second version?
Openly, we built we're building the 4 when we were launching the 6.
Really?
So we try and have as much as we can other product ready to go.
Ready to go, wow.
And so because the 4 was, although it doesn't look too dissimilar, there was a number of things in it that were quite different to how the 6 was put together. And then so the 8 was pretty much using that really came about from the GeoLab project, and then taking
Just
that
wanting
across.
something bigger. Yeah.
Yep. And then the 7, it's I guess because of the learnings of the other 2, it was much quicker to come through.
And I guess the reason that I ask is you're in the build-up phase of a business here, and obviously understanding the capital and the time and the resources. I mean, like that's you guys must have been bloody pushing.
Oh yeah. You're on the edge.
I can only imagine.
Yeah. So doing that, and then I guess everything that we've done so far is all been based off sales at the end of the day. So making sure that you can sell the product and make the product as good as it can be.
Wow.
To ensure that. So.
And you guys obviously take forward orders and that sort of thing, and that sort of forms.
Yeah, so we were quite unique, I think, in the market pre-COVID. We remember sitting down, we had a little shed out in Oxley there, sitting down, doing a Zoom with a guy over in the States, and he gave me his credit card numbers while I was there to put his deposit down, and I went, you know what, this is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And I thought, I've got a viable business here.
There's something working here.
Yeah, so that was...
That's a hell of a moment. And how did those spicy coffee years go for you guys? Because obviously the world went mad, but then it also went mad camping and traveling.
We didn't... It wasn't a huge, big boom like others had because we didn't have the product sitting there off the shelf. We'd always been built to order, and we still are. We're only built to order, so we'll talk to the client, know what they want, and we'll build
right.
that.
So you don't hold stock?
We don't hold stock.
Wow, okay.
No.
Well, look, that makes sense, I guess, as well, that you haven't got just tons of money tied up in things on the showroom floor, which...
Yeah, so don't get me wrong, we will be actively doing that, I guess, in the future.
But in the early days, those things are not feasible. When
no,
your
not at
capital's all...
Oh, look, the people were buying real trailers after seeing the prototype. And, it's the good part about it was the real trailers were way better than the prototype. Yeah. So everyone was quite happy with that.
Wow.
So,
It's really quite extraordinary. And then as it's gone forward and where it's going next, I mean, what's the plans for Bruder in terms of what you can share? What's the trajectory?
Right now we're setting up in the States. So we'll set up a little showroom over there. It'll be based down in Texas there. So that'll be I guess, a proper touch and feel place for people to do it there. One of the big things that I'd like to do more of is in that commercial space. Those projects really keep you on your toes.
I'll bloody bet they do.
Yeah.
And there'd be a few kicking around in that part of the world. They throw a few $1 at commercial and industrial.
Yeah, that's right. But it's it's one of those things. It's also the challenge of that because they're generally small at the moment, sort of smaller orders. And so they're really bespoke builds, and trying to get a bespoke build right versus a production and in terms of the actual build process and so on, it's a very different thing to think about. What else are we doing?
Would you manufacture over there as well if the demand called for it, or would you have to?
Yeah, never say never.
Yeah.
But at the moment, it's No, on our logos, Australian made, globally driven. That's what we're looking at the moment. What else? So we got probably a bit more of a footprint through the Middle East and through Europe there, and try and expand on those markets. That's probably it. And then the good old more product and bigger and better things at the end of the day. So
more product and bigger and better things.
Yeah, so it's the whole off-grid, environmentally sustainable. Yeah, we don't push as much as we actually do in that space.
Talk to me about that.
Trialing with all different sorts of bioresins and trying to make sure that the resins that we're actually using, where they're from, how we get them, keeping all the VOCs basically to nil. How we actually produce our wastage, we are incredibly good in terms of our wastage side. So basically the way we actually put the panels and everything together, everything that we cut out for windows, roofs, whatever else, we actually reassemble that and actually we'll use that on the next product. All those sorts of little things. And then you've got your advances in your electronic systems. There's. I was about to say something. They're going, nope, I probably shouldn't say that. Shouldn't say that one out. Yeah,
I'm cautious of allowing you to keep keep those things quiet.
Yeah,
because it really is incredible to me. And again, I know it's just your day-to-day work. This is just what you do.
Yeah.
But from the outside looking in, it strikes me that you guys really are pushing the forefront of a lot of this development work.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. The how the stuff works together, what we actually want to do with it all. It'll at the end of the day, if you sit still, everyone will be with you. So
they'll pass you by.
Yeah, no, not going to sit still, that's for sure.
And that's it. If you want to lead the market, you got to keep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then was it a couple of months ago? Those Good Design Awards. That was awesome. That was really good.
And again, mate, for people listening, educate us on that. So what happened there?
Yeah, so we ended up winning the Good Design Awards in the automotive side. So, not just winning, we actually won the whole category. So the special awards, so best exterior, best interior, best product. I can't remember what else, but it was
clean sweep.
Oh, it was a clean sweep, and it was just incredibly. Don't get me wrong, incredibly proud of it, but incredibly humbling all at the same time. I was sitting there with one of our young designers, Tom, and saw all the other product that we're up against up there, and I went, "Yep, happy to lose." Just going, there's some awesome kit up there, and to win it was just phenomenal. Yeah,
because there is a fair amount of stuff, and I don't know this market awfully well, but I was astonished at the number of players in the space of caravans, trailers, campers. Yep. I've been to a couple of 4Drive shows this year, and even went down to one. I think it was in Sydney, because I was trying to get my head around a few things. And walking around, you're like, bloody hell, there's a lot of people. Like, it's a busy market.
Yep.
You guys obviously sit at the very pointy end of said market.
Yeah.
But I'm astonished at how many players there are.
Yeah, there's a lot. So close on 400 or so manufacturers, I think, in Australia, from caravans, from trailers all the way up through.
Because it's such a big part of the pastimes here.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's a big market here. When we're talking about it per capita. Yeah, absolutely.
Because globally, are we fairly significant in that market, or do we still remain insignificant?
We're significant in the off-road travel market. That's sort of where Australia's niche sort of sits a little bit more. From actually a worldwide perspective, we're minuscule. As we are, exactly the same as the automotive side or anything like that. The European market, as a whole is the biggest in the RV sector.
Because their RV stuff, I did a monster road trip there. Not long ago. And I could not get over the number of vans, and there's like the VW transporters that they turn in, and that's a whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just the RVs, and there's so much of that.
Yeah.
But you don't see the tow vehicles because everyone's got a teeny tiny car to meet all the emissions.
Yeah. Yep. So we do a few things in our design to make sure they can still get towed behind.
Yeah, behind smaller cars, because it's hilarious watching like the little family station wagon towing this big thing. Yeah. And you come home and then everybody's got a four-wheel drive, but over there they've all got a little compact number.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
I just laughed.
Yeah,
okay, well, that's why you all buy vans, because you've got to buy, you need the whole thing because you don't really have a tow vehicle as such.
And it's interesting the way the US market is quite different at the moment. So it's actually growing in its towables.
Which is great because they got the big cars.
Yeah, that's right. And then but it's also that they're actually realising, going, hey, if I buy my RV or anything, my motorhome, then I do have to buy another car. And so they're going, okay, well, I can have the car and then have a towable, and don't have to do the extra car on top of it.
Right. So the US market is really just in its infancy.
It's just one of the growth areas that we've been noticing in the market over there. So you've got to have a look and be strategic about what you're building and why you're building it. And
absolutely, because I mean it makes sense. You crack that one, and that
US will be good for us over there. I don't know. Trying to think of what else we're doing as well, but
too many things I could imagine.
Yeah.
And mate, look, I'm not going to keep you too long because you have been very kind to come and give me a couple of hours. Mate, if people want to follow the work that you do, where is the best place for them to go?
Oh, just the website. So we're just so it's just bruderx.com, and so it's BRUDERX.com. And or come down if you're in Maruka or in the local Brisbane area. We're down at where are we? 115 Muriel Ave, down in Maruka there. So,
mate, in the hood. That's what I laughed at. I'm like, you're a stone's throw from where we're recording this morning.
Yeah. I probably should walk to work, but not going to happen.
Mate, you got to have the car. It's much easier. I live 60 seconds from here, but I still bring the car because you're carrying all your crap and it's all too hard. And mate, that is life. Well, look, Dan, thank you for making the time to come and have a chat with me this morning.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, mate, it's just been bloody great to chat to you and get to understand a little bit more about the business and where it came from and how it's all come together. And again, mate, that celebration of local manufacturing.
Yeah, cool.
So I really appreciate it. All right, Dan. Well, thank you, mate. And for everybody listening, thanks for joining us. We'll catch you next time.